So I was up late last night, trying to fall asleep. And typically, when you try to fall asleep, is when your brain starts just overthinking about anything, right? And my brain decided to bloop, start thinking about The Cable Guy, the movie with Jim Carrey back. I think it was made in '96. And if you remember those times, Jim Carrey was considered the comedian actor, the most hilarious guy in TV and film. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. They had all just come out, been big box office smashes, and so everyone was ready for the next Jim Carrey comedy extravaganza. The funny thing that happens with comedians, especially the ones that become like ultra famous, is they kind of struggle with their comedic identity in that moment because they fight with am I just going to be considered a clown the whole time? Is anyone going to take me serious? Are they laughing at me? Are they laughing with me? I don't want people running in my face going, alrighty then, and I'm sure that happened a lot then. If you watch old videos of Chris Farley interviews, you could kind of see him instantly struggle with this, where he'll run out onto the interview couch, do a somersault, sit, but then he kind of has like extreme self-deprecating humor, or he questions like, oh, are you making fun of me? Look at the fat guy going crazy. So a lot of famous comedians kind of struggle with that separation of like, yo, I know you guys like the stuff I do, and I'm glad that you really like it, but can you please not just always bring it up to me like that's all I am? So I think that's why Jim Carrey chose The Cable Guy. It was kind of a fu to, not to his fans, but to his comedic persona, where it's like, I'm going to play the villain and it's going to be dark. It's not going to be extremely goofy. This is not Dumb and Dumber. This is going to be a darker film. And I think people were thrown off by that. You got to think about it in general terms, right? And in general terms, when people go see something, when they pay money to see their favorite actor, they really do expect them to do exactly the same thing. Because at any point in history, movies were never cheap. They were always a luxury. It was always a trip to go see the movies, So you kind of put this money down, you buy the large popcorn, the large drink, which is overpriced, and you want exactly what you expect out of your favorite actor, right? And actors have made decisions in different movies that have thrown their audience off, and I think maybe audiences have come to appreciate it later on, maybe when the movies come out on VHS, or when they finally have come to grips with the change in the actor. They might go revisit those movies and be like, oh, I kind of like it. It hits me differently. I didn't like it then, but I like it now. And it really just has to do with the pocketbooks at that point, And I think another element that threw it off is that it was dark humor. And the best dark humor hits close to home. And that's where people were really thrown off by it. It's too real. But that's what dark humor is. It takes you to that edge of like, are they really going to do it? And then they do it. And you're like, oh, wow. Usually they go and they flip it and they say some silly one-liner, or somebody gets hit in the head with a pan, and then we don't go to that dark place. Well, dark humor takes you to that dark place. So what was it about The Cable Guy that made people feel weird? And I think I figured it out. And I'm not saying I'm the first one to think this, but I think it hit too close to home, as in most people were like, ooh, that's me. Cringe humor wasn't a thing. Like, that wasn't going to really exist for people until 10 years later, where people have finally accepted it. And still, people have problems with cringe humor. But the cringe in The Cable Guy is seeing a guy who was raised by his TV, felt neglected, felt that the people on TV were his family and couldn't really find friends. It was always awkward. And then when they made a friend, kind of got possessive about the friend. Resonated with a lot of people as like, ugh, that's me. Oh, that's the way I am. You get me? So I think that's what turned people off, because they were like, okay, yeah, who wasn't raised by their TV? Yeah, who doesn't have problems making friends and kind of oversteps boundaries every now and then. I mean, I don't try to kidnap my friend's girlfriend, and maybe that was the flip where they were like, oh, okay, well, I don't do that. But the origin story of Jim Carrey's character was the hardest thing for people to take because it resonated so much with people's personal story. And then towards the end, his big speech, he admits that everything that he was doing, he really didn't know why he was doing it. He didn't have a plan. He was just going moment to moment. I mean, think about that. How real is that for a lot of people? Because a lot of people, when they are kind of hurt by their friends, they're like, well, I'm just gonna keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, but you don't really know if you want the outcome that's going to come. You're like, I don't know when the end game is. I just know that you made me hurt, so I want to hurt you, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then hopefully there will be a point where I feel fine, and then you feel fine, and we're back to being friends. A lot of people say that Idiocracy was the movie that kind of predicted how we are now. And I still think that Idiocracy made sure to lampoon enough to where it outgoofed where we actually are right now. Like, we see it and we're like, that's how we are, but that we're not there yet. Cable Guy is where we're at. And even in one of his other speeches where he talks about, just wait, everybody's going to be connected through their media, and you're going to be able to play Mortal Kombat and go shopping and talk to your friends. I mean, he basically laid out the now. And honestly, the Cable Guy, I think, is closer to what people are finding out about themselves now. People who are so in love with TV that TV personalities feel like family, and that it's like, I identify with that TV personality. I mean, we basically saw a man who was a TV personality become president because that's how much TV has resonated with this generation and generation of people that were raised by TV. And, how many things are we learning about people just taking part in these crazy moments where they're just like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what the plan was. I was just going moment to moment because all I wanted to do was make them hurt the same way I'm hurting. I don't know what the end game was. I mean, when you really think about the Cable Guy, you're just like, oh my God, that's us. We thought it was Idiocracy. It's the Cable Guy. We just want a karaoke night and we want to hook up our friends in the favor of like, but you're still going to be my friend. And then we hate them for not returning the favor or rejecting the friendship. And then it becomes like, well, I'm just going to try to show everybody that you're the asshole. I mean, how many times does that happen today? How many people do you know do that? And how many people do you know just live moment to moment, not really with a plan when they're starting to go down that vengeful route? They just keep going down that vengeful route until I guess they're exhausted or the friendship is officially over, and then they're just stuck there like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what the point was. And there was no way that audiences in 1996 could see that that's how most people were going to be now. And maybe that's why it was just too close to home, because the home that it was painting didn't exist quite yet. It was there, but it didn't completely exist. And that's it. That's what I was thinking about last night. And I was like, well, let me put it in your head. You do what you want with that. Bye.